kids, welcome in. I love murder mysteries, and I'm going to tell you why I love murder mysteries. I love them because you are very active as you read. You should be active in most things that you read, but you're very active when you're reading a murder mystery. It's really easy to immerse yourself into the book because as you're reading, you're collecting evidence, you're paying attention to characters, you're paying attention to motives, you're trying to view the things in the background. It can be a really, really immersive experience. One of my favorite murder mysteries is Perry Mason, the Perry Mason series. I know that Perry Mason is not literary necessarily, but I love the TV show, the old one and the new one. Even though Perry Mason is not very literary, and it definitely follows a formula, I think after you read a couple of the Perry Mason novels, you'll start to see that they kind of do the same thing over and over. It's just a different scenario. It's still definitely one of my favorites because it's active as you read and it's rewarding. You keep up with all that goes on. And when you say, make your prediction sometime in the middle of the novel and you say, I think that this person is the killer and that person turns out to be the killer, that is so rewarding. And that is what I love about murder mysteries is that you can be rewarded with a good guess. And if you get it wrong, well, then you can see the breadcrumbs that the author has left behind that shows you, hey, here's how this character did this, and this was here the entire time and you didn't see it. And then you're with that moment where you're like, oh my gosh, that was there the whole time. Why was I not paying attention more? And it's rewarding. What happens, though, if a thriller is disguised as a mystery? I think the two genres are very closely related. I do think that there are some staples to a murder mystery that have to, I guess, that can classify that as a mystery. You've got to be introduced to the killer at some point in the exposition because they have to be hanging around the story. That's what ultimately leads us to that epiphany that, oh, yes, I see that that's the person, or, oh, yes, I knew it. That's what I guessed. I knew they were there the whole time. But thrillers and mysteries are very closely intertwined. Obviously, a mystery is going to be a thriller. But what happens if a thriller disguises itself as a mystery, but it doesn't reveal who the murderer is? What if you think you know who the murderer is and you've developed your case? And what if your friends think someone else is the murderer and they've developed a case? Well, that's what we're going to talk about this week. Aubrey Simmons is joining me again this week, along with the great Jason Crockett, and we're going to present our cases as to who we think the Indian killer was. So, without keeping you waiting, here's us talking about Sherman Alexie's Indian killer. Aubrey, you're new to the show. What's your favorite book and why?
All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. I don't know, she tells the story backwards, and I really like it.
What's it about?
It has a lot of tension. It's like this girl goes missing from this, what's it called? It's like a fair, but it's not. I guess it is a fair. It's a county fair.
Like a carnival?
Yeah, kind of. And then, there's this whole thing of trying to find out who killed her. It's very interesting.
So it's a mystery?
Yes.
Oh.
Thrillers are all I read.
Very fitting for today's book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Crockett always reads the synopsis for us, or he gives them off the top of his head because he's a genius. Would you care to give us the synopsis, please?
Sure. Indian Killer is a 1996 book by Sherman Alexie in which the protagonist, a Native American boy named John Smith, is adopted by two white parents outside Seattle or Spokane, Washington. And then he is raised by a white family. He goes to a white school, and he is named with a very white name, and yet feels no real connection to his family, but also doesn't feel a real connection to his native ancestry either. There are other influences in his life, a priest, some other people at school, some people at work, and ultimately John feels like he doesn't belong to this world, he doesn't belong to that world, he has a toe in both. Simultaneously, a killer is going around who leaves behind a single clue, a white owl feather, leading people to assume that the killer is a Native American person. And the book is called Indian Killer, and it's a double-edged blade because is it about a killer who happens to be a Native American Indian, or is it about the killing of Native American identity?
And it's never specified which tribe John aligns with, right?
Right.
He kind of bounces around and guesses. So, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and talk about the white elephant in the room and Sherman Alexie's allegations of sexual misconduct. And I guess with that, the thing that I want to talk about is, are we able to separate the artist from the art, or should we, I guess, take those two and once something like this has happened, it's done? The example that I gave both of you was, can I watch Dr. Huxtable still and not feel bad about that?
No.
Okay, why?
You can't, well, I don't know what the question was, but you can't, like, not think about what they did while reading their stuff.
Then what happens when I have a student in the classroom who has done something really awful, and yet I have to step away from that and only grade their work and judge them? Is this good writing or is this not?
I don't know.
I don't know. I agree. Like, it's a tough question. Yeah. Why do you feel like we shouldn't so quickly rush into thinking, yeah, you can divorce the two?
It's just hard to, like, disassociate that.
What are consequences if we do?
I'm not sure.
Well, Alexie's really not come out with anything since. Yeah, from the things that I have read, he had some projects line up, and he was scheduled to be a speaker at some events, and they said, we are not going to participate in this anymore. So I think for me, I feel like our society has gotten very black and white on this, and I do feel like that it's more of a nuanced gray area, because I know on one hand, if I was running an event with Sherman Alexie and this had happened, I don't think that I would want my event associated with him. So on that hand, I understand that. On the other side of it, to me, we believe in redemption, and we study that a lot. Especially, we talked last week about a redemption story, so what happens if these people confess and receive their punishment? Is there a chance of redemption on that side of things? I know that this is a very egregious thing, but...
Well, I think the condition you bring up is receive their punishment. Mm-hmm. So I know in our class we've talked before, can characters change? And whatever novel it is, sure, I think characters can if they actually demonstrate a repentance for it. Mm-hmm. And change is never so simple as, oh boy, I'm sorry now. Mm-hmm. You can't just, right. Claudius, spoiler for my sophomores, Claudius cannot just kneel and say, oh, I'm sorry for what I've done, God forgive me. Because he even says, my words fly up, but my thoughts remain below.
Right.
Words without deeds will never to heaven go. And you can't just, oh, well, I'm sorry, I copped to that, and then we keep going on. Claudius would have to give up crown, country, all of that. So if Alexie is guilty of these things, then how do we negotiate that? How does he demonstrate remorse for that? And even then, I mean, even after that, I don't know. It's difficult to separate the guy from it.
It is, yeah. I agree.
Is he still alive?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How old is he?
He's relatively young, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, do you think this is a good comparison with J.K. Rowling and I mean, I know that I feel like his is obviously more extreme, but the way that she's kind of she's ostracized herself in a sense. Do you know? I mean,
yeah.
Don't look at me like that.
No, I feel like, okay, I mean, sure, they're both unpalatable examples. You've got somebody with allegations of sexual misconduct. You've got somebody who has espoused some very not nice ideas about people. Alexie, those allegations have been brought up against him by numerous voices, and I'm not sure that he has publicly handled them. As far as I know, he's pretty quiet about it. Rowling has again and again and again doubled down on it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that she's done herself any favors from, divorcing the author from their stance. What do you think? Do you like J.K. Rowling as a writer?
I've never read anything.
Oh, okay.
You've never read Harry Potter?
No,
okay.
I haven't
either.
watched the movie or anything.
Fair.
Did our podcast just take a credibility hit, though? I've never read it.
I've never, people have, chastised me for this, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I'm kind of in a similar boat. I think I've told you. I bought it at the book fair when it very first came out. I was in the 4th grade, and I started reading it, and I was enjoying it, and my mom watched the 700 Club.
Yeah.
Then the next night, she said, you can't read this anymore, and I've not had any desire to pick it up since.
Yeah. Just never been, into fantasy, I guess is what it is.
Interesting.
Wow, I'm the complete opposite, because that's what I cut my teeth on. That's like fantasy. I really like sci-fi and fantasy. I do remember reading Rowling's work before, and I kept telling myself, this is a kid's book. It's a kid's book. Don't expect much out of it. But it's also a mystery, and you get to the end with the drawing room scene, and it's, not the guy that you really thought this was going to be. And I remember thinking that was a clever twist. But when you compare Rowling's writing to other good writing, it's not good writing. So I don't know that your podcast suffers from not having a J.K. Rowling credibility to it.
Someone immediately was like,
well, that's okay.
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay.
All right. Though the first thing I have here, you talked about it. John's parents, and Aubrey corrected me today, specifically John's mother, wanted him to be aware of his native culture, and yet they named him John Smith. Mm-hmm. What's up with that?
Well, okay, I'll start.
Okay.
I definitely think that Olivia was like, oh, he's a Native American, he needs to know about his culture. But Daniel, which was his dad, he definitely was like, oh, you should play baseball. You should do all this stuff that's not Native American. And I feel like Daniel was definitely not, attributing to furthering his native culture.
Do you think his adoptive parents are good or bad parents in that vein?
Horrible.
Horrible, both of them,
wow.
Daniel and Olivia?
Well, okay, Olivia tries, but I feel like if they wanted him to know about his native culture, they should have tried a little bit more.
What could they have done?
Well, okay, he talks about tribes, taking him to specific tribes, letting him know of what people do in these tribes, what their culture is. I feel like he doesn't know anything about that.
Well, I do think it is interesting that we don't know his tribe. Like you said, we don't know, and he's kind of guessing that as he goes. And
he just kind of went with whichever one people thought.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
They would guess, are you Spokane or are you?
Be like, yeah.
Yeah, I am.
A lot of times they bring up Navajo as if it's the go-to.
Right,
Right?
Yeah.
I do think it's difficult for Daniel and Olivia to be able to accomplish that. They probably mean very well. I think they both love him as an adopted child. But probably Alexie means this has a larger meaning too. They're white parents and unable to connect him to his Native American heritage. Do they have the authenticity? Do they have the authority to do that?
They themselves can't connect to Native American heritage.
Right.
So how would they supposed to do that to their son? Or how were
Right.
they? Yeah.
So larger comment as a society, are you and I or whoever, are we able to connect children to that?
I mean, I can't connect to it.
Right.
I don't know anything about it.
What if you had adopted a Native American child?
I'd probably try to learn it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you adopted a Russian child, would you try to
Learn Russian.
learn their culture?
Yeah.
What about you, Crockett?
What about me?
If you adopted a child from Uganda, would you try to keep that in mind as you raise them?
Would you change your life to adapt to theirs?
I feel like you're absolutely, you're caught in another catch-22 because you want that child to be able to have access to this parentage, this heritage and ancestry, and yet you're raising them in a very American standard, and you don't want them to be treated so differently when they go to school, you know. And I'm not trying to mock it or anything. Olivia wants him, you know, to adopt these things. What could Daniel do? Take him hunting with bow and arrow, like because then he becomes the mockery. Here's white man teaching kid to, and you don't want to go down that route and offend anybody. So if I adopted a Ugandan child or a kid from, you know, Taipei, I want them to be able to have that connection. I don't know that I have the full agency to get them tethered back to it.
Yeah.
And maybe we're not supposed to have a simple answer to that.
I wondered this while I was reading it because I did feel like the mom was trying, but was kind of on the line of back and forth to an extent. And I know that it seems like John has some severe mental issues.
Definitely.
But do you think that this drove him away from his parents a little bit more so, or do you think that there was really some type of mental problems going on there?
Yeah, I think they kind of forced it upon him.
Okay.
Like, I feel like
left him confused and.
Well, like when they talk about him as like he was younger and he was trying to find like what he was going, like what his culture was and everything like that. I feel like they were just kind of like pushed everything up on him. He didn't actually have a chance to explore himself.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to recognize, I think a lot of times, issues in kids that you are raising, especially because you're so close to them and you're seeing them through a very loving lens, and you may not want to admit certain things to yourself. So are they doing more harm to him than good? Maybe. And maybe because there's some latent issues that are there that they're aggravating. I think it's just, once again, that larger comment that they and we are often naive about the things that we're perpetrating upon people. I don't think that they mean to, but there's a quote now, and I can't remember whether it's from Bradbury or what, but a harmful touch and a tender touch, whether you meant to or not, if it lands the wrong way on somebody, can still be just as painful, whether you meant it to be hurtful or not. I think it just ties back to their naivete about the situation.
Do you think it would have been better for them to have just raised him as their? I think that they raised him as their own. Do you know what I'm trying to say, though?
Yeah.
Have maybe acknowledged it and said, you know, obviously we look different, but that's
I feel
that.
like they definitely should have found like a mentor. Like somebody who was Native American
Well,
who could teach him this culture.
He took up with that priest, remember? Yeah.
What was his name?
I don't remember. That's like that was when I was like, I hate this book. It didn't pick up to like the middle. That's all I was like. I didn't really pay attention before that.
He was a Jesuit priest,
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he also seemed to have some issues of his own. I don't know how clear he was on the situation. But if they completely abandon raising him with Native American ties, then aren't they, white society, completely annihilating his native heritage? If they do raise him that way, then aren't they appropriating his native heritage? And here's white people taking from that again, too. Sherman Alexie doesn't seem to give us a happy choice either way. You're either appropriating or annihilating.
Yeah. I think, too, Aubrey, you'll understand this one day. It goes into parenting, you know. How many tough decisions do we have where we have to do you know what I'm saying? You've got to really sit there and think about, this could go one of two ways, and I've got to try to make my best decision. I mean, I feel like there's some commentary on that a little bit.
I don't know if you feel this way, but I think a lot of times as a dad, and I'm through 3 kids now, concerned, am I breaking them?
Every day.
Right?
Every hour. Honestly. Every hour.
And
every interaction I have with my children, I think about, was this a positive interaction, or have I pushed them away? Have I planted a seed for something in the future that I can't get back now? Yeah.
Because you can have parents who are really good to you, or had issues, or maybe they did things wrong, and you tell yourself, I'm not going to make the same mistakes that, and Daniel and Olivia might think the same thing, I'm not going to make the same mistakes that, but oftentimes we do keep repeating mistakes. I think you got to do the best you can. And I also think like it's noble that they wanted to adopt a child, regardless of color and heritage. They wanted to adopt a child. But it's tough trying to connect to an identity that you don't have a connection to. Yeah.
That's a tough. I'm just sitting here thinking about what would I do in this situation, and that's just a tough. I didn't really think about the weight behind it when I was reading it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I guess sitting here now thinking on it, that's a tough decision.
Part of me keeps giggling inside because it's, what if I had adopted a Latino child? What are we going to, it's Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's just very insensitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's naive at the same time. Like that's not your connection. So I just don't know how to have the authenticity to do that. And the same situation, you don't want to break any of your kids, adopted or natural born. You don't want to break them. So are you doing right by them?
I guess this kind of is a good place to segue into one of my favorite characters, Marie Polotkin. I don't have this on here, but it just made me think about, we were talking about how would you handle this, and Dr. Mather, the way that what's the line between appreciation of culture and, like you were saying, appropriation of culture? How are we supposed to approach that?
Well, he teaches it.
Okay.
He can't. I don't know. He's definitely forcing himself onto it. Like he wants to be Native, obviously.
So do you think, let's say for me, if my fourth block turned into Native American history, okay, and do you think it'd be appropriate for me to come in with the bolo tie and
Definitely
the
not.
feathers and yeah?
No. Well, and also I've known you before you did that. But
You'd be like, what's going with this guy?
Yeah. But I mean, if I walked into a class and he was already like that, I'd be like, oh.
You would think that
okay.
would just be normal?
Yeah. Like that's just him.
Because rumor has it there's a professor at Tech like this, isn't there?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I hear. I've not interacted with them, but I hear.
That's interesting.
So.
What if for me, I don't know that, maybe it's because of our region. I don't know that the Native American connection is so strong here, but we live in the South, and for us, so much more, it's a white-black diversity. What if Jason Crockett were assigned to teach African American culture and history next year? Like, or worse, what if the job was open and I said, no, I want that because I have so much experience with it. And then I started doing my hair different. I started dressing different. I started speaking differently. And is that okay?
Well, I mean, let's say I'm African American, and it's like Marie Polotkin. I mean, she comes in as an Indian into his class.
Am I allowed to do that, though, or am I offending people by adopting something that's not rightfully mine?
I would be offended, you know. I think Marie definitely took the class to pick a fight for sure. But because I think you can go about it respectfully. Like we can respect the culture, you know. I mean, I respect Native culture and African American culture, and there are definitely, like you were saying here in the South, there's definitely influences of our culture from African Americans that I greatly appreciate, you know. But like you said, there is a line to be drawn there.
And I really feel like Dr. Mather crosses that line left and right.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not just, I appreciate this. He goes on about how he's been adopted into the tribe and everything.
Yeah. He's on and on about how he is Native when he's not.
I feel like that would be if I said, I'm part of a gang. They added me to it. Or, I'm part of whatever. Like that really crosses a line into a cultural appropriation, and it's beyond insensitive. And doesn't that make him naive and blind to something that's right in front of him?
Yeah, it does. I was just sitting here thinking about your question of could I teach that, you know? I think if someone has the knowledge and the appreciation correctly, then yes, but not in Dr. Mather's case.
Yeah. He's not respectful about it.
I don't think so. But I think he thinks he is, doesn't he? He thinks that he is respectful to it.
But he's blind and naive, and that's, that's a tragic. That's a tragic figure right there. And sure, you could teach an African American studies class. Okay, we can research it. We can do whatever. You could do that. But aren't there better candidates out there to teach it too?
Sure. I would hope that if I were in that situation, it had been a case of no one else has applied for this.
Right.
Yeah.
And for the time being, you're the best we've got.
Right. Yeah.
And you would be in the classroom with a sensitivity to, I'm not going to come in with whatever false identity and outfit and stereotyping that's not.
Do you know what this reminds me of? When I was in community college, we had to take a foreign language class, and I had Spanish, and there was a kid from the Dominican in there. And of course, he was fluent already because that was his native language. And the teacher would ask a question, how do you say this word? And he would raise it, and he would say, that's this. And she would say, no, that's incorrect. And he would, and of course, it was a little white lady leading class, and we all would just be sitting there looking at each other like, what? And I remember thinking, I'm just going to go based off what this guy's saying.
Maybe the one who's fluent in it.
Yeah. The guy that actually lived in Latin America, I'm going to go with what he says instead. So I guess I do understand Marie's fury behind all of that. But I do think she took the class with the intent of
time to fight.
Stirring some stuff up, for sure.
Because of her interactions with other things too, I also feel like, okay, if this were something she could have effected change in, that the university swapped in a Native American professor that she signed off on, I still don't think that's a win for her. It's not about just Dr. Mather.
Yeah.
She's really trying to upend other issues in society. And I think Marie Polotkin's somebody who needs to keep fighting and upending stuff.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Speaking of, I guess, people in this same ilk.
Such good vocab.
Thank you.
Elevated word choices.
Well, we ask the tough questions on this podcast.
That's true.
Jack Wilson, the author, also claimed that he was Native, and that was something that always come up, is that he wasn't. And he creates the character, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it seems like it was very racist.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I remember texting you, Crockett, while I was reading this, and I said, has Sherman Alexie written about himself here? Because Sherman Alexie also wrote, Diary of a Part-Time Indian. Mm-hmm. So he's written 2 books about Native America, or Native Americans, I should say, excuse me. Did you think that?
Part of me wonders about that. If he is being self-reflective here, Jack Wilson is so naive and so he is not genuine. So if that's true, then Alexie's really pointing daggers at himself. And does he feel that he lacks a genuine voice for characterizing Native American people too?
Do you think it could be an ego thing too, where he probably got this criticism when he wrote Diary of a Part-Time Indian and decided, I'm going to plug this in here as a joke for myself? What do you think?
I don't know. I really feel like Jack Wilson is another extension of the white cultural appropriation character. He's Dr. Mather as a writer who still can't see that I'm the bad guy because he's perpetrating stereotypes. Is Sherman Alexie perpetrating stereotypes? Because if so, then maybe he's like, oh, maybe I am Jack Wilson in that way. But I almost feel like the finger's pointed away from him, and it's like there's not just Dr. Mather. It's also this guy. It's also this guy. That's why I felt Jack Wilson was somebody else.
It is funny that you have almost the same character with him and Mather. Mm-hmm. And something you just said really stood out to me because Jack Wilson thinks that he's really progressing the Native community, but when you're using stereotypes, you're not doing that at all, are you?
Right. What do you think?
What do you think about old Jack Wilson,
I
Aubrey?
don't know. His whole plot is so confusing to me. Like, now that you say that he connects to Sherman Alexie, I can kind of see that from what I've heard, but the whole thing just don't make any sense to me.
What doesn't make sense?
Just his whole character plot. Like, how he fits into the story in any shape or form. Because, I mean, it's about this serial killer.
Yeah.
And, like, all of a sudden you just get Jack Wilson. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, it's almost like Jack Wilson's an opportunist, and now that this killer is going around, Jack Wilson, like Truck Schultz, like others, is capitalizing upon something because now I have a readership who's interested in this.
But you know what also? This kind of just dawned on me. Marie has Mather. Mm-hmm. And Wilson was more tied towards Reggie, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
And that's kind of interesting to think about. And John has an interaction with him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, there's got to be some type of mirroring there between Reggie, Marie, Mather, and Wilson.
And both Mather and Wilson are not very bold, very strong male figures. Both of them are weak and cowardly in their way.
So too.
Mather hiding in his basement with the tapes, and Jack Wilson drinking his milk and not wanting to look people in the eye, and fight them back.
I've got to tell you after this, somebody he reminds me of. I can't say on here. Oh man, I would almost mute this and say right now. Okay, never mind. So speaking of Truck Schultz reminds me of modern journalism on television on both sides. Let me just preface that, on both sides, of people who are, like you said, using these calamities to profit themselves. I thought it was interesting with this being written in 96, how much he mirrors people that you see on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. Like I said, both sides of this, who really, in my opinion, they are not really being true journalists. They're using sensationalism to create money, right? Mm-hmm. As entertainment. It's entertainment. And what they do is stir the pot and then retreat, literally what Truck Schultz would do, retreat to his island, removed from the situation, and view what's going on.
Oh, yeah. This is not, like, informative, a news story. This is, like, just pure entertainment.
Yeah.
He's just pushy, nosy, know-it-all. Like, he don't really care about real information.
No, he doesn't care at all, does he?
He just wants the viewers.
Yeah. I just thought it was really neat, though, how he lived on that island separated, because it was literally him retreating from what he had helped stir up,
You don't think Truck Schultz would be fair and balanced? You wouldn't call him that? No. I think that's a great irony, is that, we all, any station, any agenda could say, we're fair and balanced. And I really think all sides would say, no, I'm fair and balanced. They're the ones that aren't.
And they do, yeah.
But I also think Truck Schultz would definitely not claim to be fair and balanced. If I'm Truck Schultz, I don't want to be fair and balanced, because that's not going to get me ratings.
Right.
Wouldn't they call that muckraking journalism?
Yes, yeah.
He's agitprop. And the more fires you start, the more attention you're going to get. It's not about solving the problem. And I think in that way, he has a connection to Marie Polotkin, because it's not about solving the problem. It's about starting more fires and, getting this stirred up.
And hoping the problem lasts.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Because that's where your attention is.
Yeah.
He's definitely political. Like, everything about him, very, very racist, very political.
Yeah. I had read, and maybe I'm incorrect, that Alexie based him off Rush Limbaugh. I don't know if you know who that is, Aubrey, but yeah.
100%. I mean, the time period, 1996, Limbaugh's really getting his feet underneath him. And that entire swing of hard conservatism and that angry voice, it mirrors up with it.
Oh, yeah,
and we're familiar with the television people, but I mean, when I was working at the radio station, I would have to sit and listen to those conservative talks. And I just say conservative because the WHUB where I worked was a conservative news station, so I can't speak for the liberal side of things. Not that I'm picking sides, but it was very Incendiary, right? Just a lot of
Yeah.
shouting. What's the guy's name? Savage was one. What's the other guy's name? He came on all the time. And then I had a friend who one day he had like this certain bump out, and my friend like repeated it just out of nowhere. It was like Mark Levan. That was it. Because it goes Mark Levan, and he just did that out of nowhere one day.
You got to do one for Truck Schultz now. What would be his?
Schultz. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Michael Savage was savage.
We're gonna have to think of one for Aubrey now.
Deadman's books. I don't. His character though, I thought Truck Schultz's character is one of my favorites because he felt so real to me. Do you know what I'm saying? I quickly identified. I know this guy. I see this guy on the news on both sides. You know.
Yeah.
Rachel, what's her name? Rachel Maddow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean she would be the left side of that, and then you've got Tucker Carlson. That's who he kind of reminded me of as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and again, they're not exactly the same thing, but you think about some of our greatest supervillains, and you think about how Batman's supervillains aren't just guys in tights. They're mental illnesses personified. Mm-hmm. And that's the scary thing about Batman's villains is, well, how do you fight that? How do you combat that? How do you rationalize with it? And you take somebody like Truck Schultz, who's just an angry machine gun voice that wants to keep pumping rounds into an already angry crowd. How do you combat that? Mm-hmm. Do you take him off the air? Because then you're silencing free speech, and you're also, I don't know that solving the problem, because those fires have already been lobbed out. They're going to find a way. Like, how do you combat such a thing?
Yeah.
Which makes him feel like so much more of an insidious menace to me than somebody like Daniel and Olivia, who are just trying to raise their kid.
I think one thing that I hope studying the history of journalism is you see that it does revolve in cycles, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think for us, I'm hoping that one day that muckraking led into a more objective era, that I'm hoping that will be for us one day on the horizon, you know, especially here in America, because it seems just almost helpless sometimes, to be honest, you know.
It does feel like there was that golden age. You think of people like Cronkite, and that he looked into the camera and said, and that's the news in America. And Cronkite was a trusted voice. If he said it, then you knew. But you also liked Cronkite. He was a fair and balanced voice of authority. And we don't have any Cronkites now.
Yeah. Woodward and Bernstein. That's
Woodward
the one
and
that I always
Bernstein.
think of from that era. Yeah.
Where are they now? I mean, all we have now, I feel like, are agitators.
Mm-hmm. Just talking heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're out there. The fair journalists are out there. It's just really hard to find because, I mean, it's turned into an entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And which is sad, but that's the only thing that I think makes me worried about that side of things is the money's already there. You know, it's sort of like for me with college football, it's completely changed and it's turning into something that I don't know that I am in love with as I used to be, but they're never going to go back because the money's there and it's just increasing. So that's one thing that kind of worries me.
Right.
Aubrey, you got any notes there you want to share?
Oh, goodness.
You've written a
particularly
lot.
right now. Oh, this is for the...
Oh, this is for your investigation. Yeah, okay.
I'm ready to bash some ideas.
So Alexie doesn't reveal who the killer is. Do we like this? And does this make it a true mystery?
What do you think, student?
And reader of mysteries.
Well, I really, really hate, like, how he leaves it open-ending, which I hate all books like that. I want a neat resolution, but I think he does that on purpose. It's definitely ambiguous on purpose. Like, the book is about what conditions created the killer, not who the killer is. And I think that's why he left it ambiguous, but I don't like that. It's more about the conditions than anything.
Yeah, that's a good take.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think... Okay. I usually... Because you know I like a good murder mystery and a good true crime. I do like the resolution to knowing who did it. I do think that this has been a rare exception of that case because I felt so strongly that I knew who did it. I still feel strongly who I think the killer is. And so I didn't mind it as much. I do agree with Aubrey. I do feel like at the end of the story, the way Alexie described the killer as continuing the dance, the war dance, that it was more metaphoric than it was like an actual person. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I thought that Alexie was trying to allude to, like you said, more of the oppression and conditions that our native people face, and that was going to continue on, basically, regardless of the effects that this person had, whatever positive or negative results that happened, that they were going to continue on because, unfortunately, that oppression for our native people still exists, and that was going to continue. So I felt like that the end of it was more metaphoric than it was, or maybe I should say allegoric. I don't know. Yeah. I think more allegoric towards the message as opposed to an actual person. I know that I mentioned this last week, but it kind of does remind me in a sense of S.A. Cosby's All the Sinners Bleed, because they have classified it as a mystery as well. But I know I was looking on some posts from like mystery subreddits and things like that, and I would classify Alexie as this. I think that this is more of a thriller as opposed to a mystery, much like with Cosby's, because in Cosby's, a classic murder mystery true crime, you're introduced to the killer in the exposition of the story. It may be a minor character on the side, but you're supposed to be introduced to them. And Cosby just kind of leads you along and then is like, here's your killer. Mm-hmm. And in this one, we never find out who the killer is. So I don't know that I would classify it as a mystery, but I'm getting off topic. What do you think about the ending?
No, you're not at all off topic. I feel like Dwight Schrute said it best when in a mystery, the person who did it is never the one you most suspect or the least suspect. It's always the person you most medium suspect. And for me, I cannot point to, I think at times you think, it definitely is Marie Polotkin, or it definitely is Reggie, or no, it definitely is John, or it's even some of the white characters. Oh, it's definitely them. But I feel like also those are red herrings. Mm-hmm. And if it could be any of them, then why is it any one of them? And especially when you come to the end and the killer is leaving, hitting the road, and the commentary is something about how this is a spreading wing, that this is a spreading wind, so it's going to inspire more of this revenge. Then it's like the spirit of the people is getting its revenge at last. That finally there is going to be a great awakening, and judgment, balance, revenge is going to be spreading beyond just this. So in that case, I don't know that it can be any one killer. I did think for a while that it was John, and that he was doing this in a subconscious way, that he wasn't really in full faculty, like he knew what he was doing, but that he would slip into some of this rage mode and would just act without thinking about it. But when Marie Polotkin was following Dr. Mather from a distance, I thought, ooh, it's you. So, but I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can agree with anyone. But you think?
Oh yeah.
You think it's definitely Marie?
Oh, 100%.
All right. Why?
Well, okay. All throughout the book, I was like, oh, it's John. Oh, it's Reggie. Oh, it's her. Well, there was this one like eerie connection that it was one quote, and when the spoilers, when the killer eats his brains.
Yes.
Well, sorry, that was morbid, but like there's a quote, and it's like eating his brain like a sandwich. And all throughout the book, Alexie constantly refers to Marie as the sandwich lady. And I don't know if he was hinting at it, but that was when I was like, oh, it's Marie, 100%. I mean, there's obviously other reasons.
Well, what are the other reasons? We're laying our investigation out now. So
Okay, it aligns with her ideology.
Okay.
Like everything about her is just fight. We want we want justice and all this.
Extreme. She wanted extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. She understands Native tradition. She's one of the only characters in the book who scalping the feathers, all that stuff. She would understand all that.
That's true.
And then she's everything about her is just oh wow, I can't get this word out.
No, you're fine.
Strategic. Like all the murders are planned, very calculated at the exact precise time. Just planned and calculated. She's everything about her is precise. I feel like I already said that, but
I think it's interesting that you said that it was very fitting to her character in the manner that they were done, to the extreme. I want my message out extreme because I do think that Marie would have been someone who would not have second guessed that.
Yeah, and I mean the white owl feather, everything about it is just it screams Native culture.
And I think that's very observant that she's the only one that really understands the culture.
Yeah.
She's the only one that really cares. I think John cares on a superficial level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
This is who I am.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, right. Yeah. John almost wants to know about it to be contrary to his parents, really.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And what are you laughing at?
No, I agree with that.
Yeah. And then Reggie doesn't care. He's just angry.
Yeah,
I have some thoughts about that too.
Reggie's just a messy kind of angry, and I can't imagine Reggie leaving a white owl feather behind because that is a more Marie Polotkin thing to do.
It's too calculated.
Well, and Reggie, everything he does is he strives on or thrives on intimidation and power, and he's so direct in everything. He beats people up on the side of a street. He's not fixing to go murder somebody in the shadows.
This is going to be a dumb analogy. Reggie is like Kylo Ren. He's just acting out of rage, right? Marie is like the Emperor. She's angry, but she's planning and plotting in the background.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Marie, I could see leaving the feathers. I could see her kidnapping the child, keeping the child, and not necessarily taunting the child, but looking at the child, right? Yeah. Interacting with them. You're very correct in saying that she's strategic about all of the actions that she takes, as angry as she is. And I agree with you. She doesn't want to resolve anything. She just wants to keep adding fire. And by the end, that spirit is supposed to roll on and on and on. I just can't imagine Reggie. Why would he leave an owl feather behind?
Yeah.
I could see Marie leaving it thinking, this is a message, but also whites are going to pick up on it and see a different message. I don't know. I could see that.
Mm-hmm. Well, even I forgot about the kid. She took care of the child, and I feel like if it was John, he would not have done that. Yeah. He's too out of it to do that.
I think that's my main argument that it's Marie is because they kidnapped the kid, and it talks about how they were driving the kid in the truck, and they were able to, they would reach back and comfort them. And the way that it described made me think that there was enough room for this child to lay down, which reminded me of Marie's sandwich truck.
Exactly.
And I was thinking like you, I don't think that John would have been trying to caress and comfort a child. I know Reggie would not be trying to caress or comfort a child.
And he has his little gang too. So.
Right. And they would have probably been with him.
Yeah. Well, and even on the thing with John, he's too far, he lost touch with the reality a long time ago. And I feel like his psychological decline is one of the most well-written parts of the book.
Oh, really?
Yes. I love how Alexie starts alluding to it, and then it just, what's the word for it?
Builds?
Yeah, but fast. Mm-hmm. Very fast.
He's out of control at the end of the story.
Yeah. He don't even know who he is.
Yeah. It is wild that I felt bad for him at the end of the story, to be honest with you, because I thought, man, this guy is sick, mentally sick, and he's not well. And I also felt for his mom too, because she was trying to make contact with him. Yeah. And didn't he ignore her? He was in his apartment.
Donut shop or something.
Yeah. Right. And that's another sad thing too, is he had friends at this donut shop, and he had
Paul and Paul too, or something like that. I was creative names. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, this one's Paul. Yeah, this will be Paul too. Yeah, that'll be fun. He kind of ruined his friendship with them because he couldn't really control
Yeah.
his mental state.
And even
so.
like where he works, he had no friends other than Marie, I guess, at one part. But
Yeah.
Do you think Marie actually like cares about being friends with John, or is he just another tool?
I think he's the muscle man.
Oh, really?
Well, he could have been.
I think that she was interested in him because he was native. Does that make sense? Kind of someone that I can relate with, and I do think that it seemed to me that she thought he was kind of lost a little bit, and that she might, because we think that she's the killer, but also she had a benevolent side to her. She was feeding these homeless natives, and
he comes in like a homeless person that she feeds.
And so I can see her connecting to him in a caring sort of way, because she's already got that characteristic about her. That's kind of how I viewed it, is she wanted to care for John, not necessarily be his friend, but wanted to be friendly towards him.
But in other ways, why do you think Marie's the killer, other than obviously the mother thing?
Okay. Well, really the maternal instinct is my main argument, because, the killer goes in with the knife to kill the child, and they can't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just observing women as I've grown up and being around my wife, even before we had children, she still had that natural maternal instinct. It's just something that I think that's been placed inside of women, and I think that was the killer could not kill the child because of that maternal instinct, and ultimately took them back to the parents unharmed because of that same maternal instinct. There's also something, y'all are gonna have to help me out with this. There's something that Marie says when she's being interrogated. Isn't there?
Oh.
Doesn't she mention like, who said that I've never killed someone before, or
Yes.
something like,
Yes.
or never
I
killed a
forgot
white
about
person?
that.
Yeah, someone says, I may be butchering this, and I apologize. I wish I could pull it up quickly. She's being interrogated, and they say something about she would never kill a white person, or have you ever wanted to? And she says something to the extent of, who said I've never killed a white person?
Yeah.
And so to me, that was kind of like a There was another one too. I used to have a really good case. Dang. This podcast. One day I'll be good at this.
Well, we were keeping notes of it for a while there, because you and I were rereading it at the same time. And so we kept coming back to, it could be because of this passage. There was a part in there when the college kids see somebody carrying somebody over their shoulder. And at that point, it was supposed to be the killer carrying the person over their shoulder, right? And I was thinking, well, that couldn't be Marie because she's not so physically strong, but John is.
Well,
right?
Okay, that was the only part that I was like, oh, it's not Marie. But I mean,
maybe she
also
could carry a person,
I was gonna say,
right?
She also, depending on how much the person weighed and everything like that, and how strong she is, just in general.
I think I was overthinking some parts of it too, because John obviously has mother issues. He's robbed of his natural born mother. He often dreams about reconnecting with her and this perfect, ideal, person that he's supposed to become living on the reservation. But he also has issues with Olivia. You're very correct in bringing up that Marie Polotkin's like a mother figure that he's attached to. Well, then that makes him the child figure. And if John were subconsciously the Indian killer going around, maybe he doesn't have a maternal instinct, but maybe he does have a childlike connection to the child, and that's a reason why he can't kill the child. I thought that there was something else toward the end of it where John is looking at the person in the car. Is it Jack Wilson?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's why I don't think it was John, is because these killings had already happened. The child had already been kidnapped. This is towards the end of the book, and they're stalking Jack Wilson, and they stop. It was in front of his house, I think, wasn't it? And John's like, I'm going to kill my first white. I'm pretty sure that's in there. I'm going to kill my first white person.
And it's that's already happened.
Yeah, right. So that's why for
there's
me,
lots of reasons why I don't think John is it. His entire character arc is all about identity confusion.
Yeah.
I don't feel like any of it is actually about I'm going to murder this white man. I don't feel like any of it is about that. I mean, he doesn't know who he is, so how is he supposed to go kill somebody else?
I do think he does devolve to like a child, doesn't he? At the end of the story, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I just remember feeling really bad for him at the end of the story.
Well, and even like when he was parked outside of Jack Wilson's house and everything, his violence was not, I'm fixing to like murder you, or what? I guess it was like he was going to murder him, but it was, all of his violence is very like reactionary.
Yeah.
None of it's calculated like Marie.
And I do think that the killings were calculated.
They had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like catching him outside of buildings and stuff like that, there's no way they weren't.
Also, the guy's brother that got killed at the casino. Remember he was trying to date Marie, and that's another reason that I thought Marie did it, because he did something and offended her, and
I think part of me still likes the idea that it's like Murder on the Orient, where
everybody,
it's all of them, and they all had different parts, but they don't necessarily know it.
I think it was the same. It was the same, like every single murder.
I think the only one that I could make an alternative argument for was Reggie, because he hits the road, and he just leaves, which was part of his character, because he kind of shows back up, right? And so that was part of his character. But when he's describing at the end the killer doing the dance, and it talks about it will continue on the road or something like that. That was the only time that I ever kind of questioned, could that have been Reggie?
I think it's also very interesting how Reggie doesn't show up like, he could be the killer until halfway through the book. I feel like that's very interesting because, at the beginning, I thought it was John.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for a long time.
I don't think that I ever thought it was John.
Well, until Marie started, happening. But Reggie doesn't happen for a while.
No. And when he does, he shows up violently, though.
Yeah. And I can even remember talking to y'all, be like, "Oh, it's John. I know it is." And then you said something about Reggie, and I was like, "Who's Reggie?"
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I also was so excited to tell my investigation to her, and I was trying not to spoil it. I was like, I don't want to.
I'll be like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Well, I also would say, I don't want to lean you towards my way of thinking. But I think I ultimately just went ahead and said, okay, here's what I think.
I feel like I already had my ideas before you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have on here about that he had planned on this. Oh, go ahead.
Who do you think is the killer?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really I like your interpretation that it's Marie, and 75% of me wants to say that it's Marie, but I keep coming back to the very ending, and so often it's an anonymous being, and I just like the idea of it being something spiritual, something metaphorical, something larger than any one person that's finally got its time to shine. Yeats's poem about what rough beast, its hour come around at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born. Well, this is a people that have been oppressed and robbed from and, neglected and abused and killed outright. So here's this spirit of vengeance, and what rough beast, its hour come around at last, slouches out of Spokane toward Colorado and everywhere.
That was something that they kind of kept saying, right? This is our time. We've been waiting for this, and this is our time. Well, because they reference back to the curse or something that one of their people put on the white people, that eventually they would exterminate. Yeah, come back and get revenge.
So here it comes.
Yeah.
So for me, I like that too. But I'm also a sci-fi fantasy kid, and so I kind of like the idea of this being more metaphorical.
Yeah, I definitely don't.
I like it being metaphorical, though.
If it's going to be a mystery, then you have to have a killer that you can point to.
Yeah.
That's what I definitely don't like the ambiguous thing.
But
I do, though.
Yeah,
I do. This is
it just freaks me out. I'm not gonna lie.
The unknown.
It scares me.
It's a void.
I don't like the unknown.
I would typically say that that would have ruined a book for me, to say I don't like especially a mystery. It would have very much bothered me. But I did like that it was kind of left up to us to, okay, well, Marie is my killer, and that's okay. And Marie is your killer, and that's okay. And your killer is...
mysterious.
It's Dr. Mather.
No, actually, at one point I thought it was Truck.
Oh, man.
And I was like,
what if?
Once we kept going, I was like,
Truck
no,
Schultz?
it's not him.
But bigger picture, if it is about, the opposite side of the title, annihilating the Indian identity, the Native American identity, then Truck Schultz is a killer of that. And Jack Wilson is. And
all of them are killers in their own way.
Yeah. Is Marie Polotkin a killer of the Native American identity?
Not Native American. I feel like it's more leaning towards she don't like white people.
Right.
Yeah, so it could be towards that.
Is she also harming any noble goal that she might have? I don't know. I don't know.
Marie is an odd. I shouldn't say odd. She's a complicated character.
No, she's an odd character too. You're right about that.
Because there would be times when I would be reading and I would think, I cannot stand Marie. But then there would be times where I thought, this is my favorite character.
Right.
Marie is my favorite character.
I don't even know who my favorite character was.
Mine's Marie.
She and John equally for me, I think. Yeah.
I really like Truck Schultz too. I know I said that, but just because I could relate to him so much.
I don't know why.
Not as a person, but I could identify who that is. I should, let me back up here. Whoa.
You should hear Drew's other podcast.
Reggie's, I think Reggie's character plot was probably my favorite.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, I liked it. I liked the way it advanced.
Why?
I don't know. There's no specific answer to that.
Okay. No text evidence.
Nope.
We have failed as teachers.
It's just a feeling. It's a feeling.
Just because I like that.
Okay, what were you going to say? You said I had something on, and then...
So you have on here that Sherman Alexie is... he had planned on this being a movie. Would it have been a good movie? I think if we were movie making, I could totally see the end being Marie Polotkin driving away.
Oh, yeah.
Or hinting with her eyes or something like that. I could see it somehow narrowing to her.
Yeah. That's the thing. I would absolutely not like this movie.
Oh, you wouldn't like it as a movie?
Yeah, oh, no. Definitely
Why?
Not. If they don't stick to every single detail, the plot don't build right, I feel like. It wouldn't... It'd be a long movie.
It could be a miniseries.
It could.
Yeah.
I usually read my books as miniseries, though, in my head. Crockett and I talk about this. We cast our books. And
Always.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do feel like
do
you
that.
had brought up before that Jack Wilson and Dr. Mather, if they were going to do a movie about it, and it's a 2-hour plus movie, probably you're going to synthesize those two.
I was going to say,
into
they'll
one
combine
character,
those,
right? Because that just
I get it while
streamlines the
reading.
narrative. Yeah.
I think that's why I don't really remember Jack Wilson's plot, is because everything was aiming at Dr. Mather.
He's a former cop who now teaches a college class about this.
Yeah. And has written a book.
And writes books.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
That
the
would
same
be
guy
easy
in
to
that
combine.
case.
Yeah. I think that they would have to have a killer, though. They would have to reveal someone. Do you know what I mean? For a movie. To me, that just seems like something Hollywood would do. But this said it was going to be a straight-to-TV movie. It wasn't going to be... Yeah, which that's odd.
Why?
I don't know.
Unless maybe they were thinking about a mini-series.
I think that it would be a good miniseries.
Sure. Like, you think like a 1-week, 4-part episode? Or?
Yeah, like a maybe. So for me, my miniseries is like one season of 7 episodes. You know?
I like that.
Yeah.
And there are so many good streaming services that could capitalize on making a good single season 7-part episode. And in that case, I do think you could expand Dr. Mather and Jack Wilson into being separate but forked, parallel kind of characters doing the same thing.
But this goes into what we opened up with. That will never happen now because of the allegations, and maybe rightfully so. Maybe rightfully so.
Yeah, there's a series that Neil Gaiman had done, The Sandman, that finally they came out with the TV series about. And it's a great graphic novel series, 10 parts, and they did 2 seasons, I think. Well, now he's had similar allegations brought up against him, and Netflix has said, we're canceling the show.
So you brought up Neil Gaiman. I when I was reading about Alexie's allegations, Gaiman was the one that he was compared to. So I think I got some of his allegations, Alexie's. Some of Gaiman's I was thinking was Alexie's because his were awful. Neil Gaiman's were awful. Not that either one of them are light.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say. Okay. What about this quote by Sherman Alexie? He says Indian Killer is a feel-good novel about interracial murder. I thought that when I read that, I thought, okay, because I talked about his ego earlier. I was thinking this guy is full of himself and is just trying to be so cool.
my novel is just it's about all these murders and it's a feel good.
There's nothing about feel good about murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you even get to the end of this book and feel, well, there was resolution there. I don't feel
the tension throughout the entire novel.
Well,
there's nothing to feel good about.
No, we've even talked about how from the beginning you're faced with these issues that we can't ourselves put a finger on and say, well, I would do this or that. It's the whole time you're torn on. Yeah, not one part of this was so good.
No,
and the fact that he can write something like that and then say that quote
that's what he's just trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Or was he being ironic? Because I don't know the quote. I don't want to take it out of context. Was he being ironic and funny about it? That it's a feel-good horror movie.
I hope so.
It's a feel-good murder about interracial murder. I don't know. I do know because I first read this novel in a class with Dr. Kurt Eisen when I was at Tech. And this is way back before so much of the internet had expanded as it had, that Sherman Alexie had been lurking on a message board under a pseudonym of people who were discussing his work.
Was it Jack Wilson?
Right. The pseudonym was simply Lester. And he was lurking as somebody named Lester and contributing to a conversation about him and listening to other people, what they were saying about it. And then he finally wrote this post where he unmasked himself and said, I have been Lester, and here's some things I want to say about that. And it just seems kind of kooky to do that as a writer, right? And his Indian Killer kind of does the same thing.
I've never liked when creators do that.
Yeah.
I mean, and we create stuff.
Yeah.
And we present it to school and parents and there's always that element for me, especially with this podcast, where, okay, this is like my heart and soul. Here you are. And you know that there are going to be people that rip it apart.
Yeah.
But I think that as true creators, you kind of have to accept that,
Yeah.
I just
I can work hard, I can be proud of it, but there's going to be some people who just don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well, that's what I told you guys last year. Remember, I said there are going to be people who say, I don't like this. This is the worst thing ever.
Terrible.
And yeah. I have always, it's just been so annoying to me when creators get in these chat rooms and this is.
That is
So I was reading about Rapunzel.
That's funny.
My oldest daughter loves the Tangled series, the Rapunzel, the TV show, and my wife had noticed something that she was questioning, and so we were doing research on that. And we found out, because we were concerned, like, should we show her this now or not? Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. So I was doing some research on that, and we found out everything was good. It was just a misunderstanding. But I had read, though, that the guy that was the creator of that was stalking people on Twitter and was like, no, you're watching the show. He was telling people, you're watching the show wrong, because they had fallen in love with the character that he had not intended them to. And they kept saying, like, hey, are you bringing this character back for this next season? And he was like, you guys are watching the show wrong. This is not supposed to be you're supposed to love Rapunzel. You're not supposed to love this character. And I don't know, it just really annoys me when creators do that.
Well, especially because once you've published it, it's really out of your hands and it exists in a universe of intertextuality. And who are you to come back and say, well, no, you've read it wrong?
Yeah, you read it wrong. Like, I have free
This is what you produced, right?
Yeah, but that's part of it, right? Like, you produce these things for people to, okay, you can take this in your, like we have with
metaphor.
Indian Killer. Like, we think Marie's the killer, and
as long as it's a legitimate reading of the text, I shouldn't need the author to sit there and tell me what to think about it.
Yeah. Wish he would have told me who the killer was, but
well, we may never know.
I am going to be reading the comments of this show and to see if
please
Perry
don't say that.
Haston ever logs in to tell people, no, what I meant was.
I'm not Perry Haston. What are you talking about? It's a coincidence we have the same last name. It's not me.
He teaches English. I solve murders. We're not the same.
Not the same, yeah. I solve mysteries of all sorts. I'll see you in court. That's the next thing. I saw him post that to a few people. I'll see you in court. Crockett, why do you teach this for AP?
Well, last year was the first and only year I've been able to use it in an AP class. But you think about putting texts into kids' hands that are going to be complex enough, have enough to discuss nuances, especially of character, especially in the style of writing. And this book checks every box for that. Also, we often struggle to find writers who are not the same canon of old white dudes, right? That you want to, whatever current modes of society suggest, you want to bring forth a diversity of writers that mirrors the diversity of your people. And I mean, that's why we teach literature, is we're looking through a kaleidoscope of lives that don't necessarily tell us how to live, but force us to ask questions about how we live and what we're doing to others. And Alexie's book does that for me. I was fortunate enough to have a great college professor, Dr. Eisen, who awakened me to this book. And he's not here anymore, but his lessons live through me into other students who go on now to sit in podcasts and come up with formula strategies of their own for how the killer actually did this. It brings up an entire conversation about nuance.
Yeah.
The only thing more we could discuss would just be the style of his writing compared to others. And you've checked every box. It's great for that.
I think this book, too, something you and I continue to go back to is, why do we read literature? Why does art matter? And I think this episode is evidence of that, because how many tough questions have we sat here and had to talk through and say, well, what about this and what about that? And that's ultimately, I mean, we read books for fun, but we also desire to read these books so we can sit and ponder on these things.
And if they gave you a pat answer at the end, it's going to feel fake.
Yeah.
And I know Aubrey wants a decision
I want
made.
it so bad.
But what if he said, yeah, the killer was Reggie?
I'd be mad because I think
Well, now
it's
you're
Marie.
mad about that.
So what
can't
if he
make up
would
my
have?
mind.
What if he would have said, and Marie Plotkin walked off into the sunset?
I would have been. Wait, what do you mean? Like as the killer?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have been happy.
You would
I
have
got it
been
right.
satisfied. You would have said,
Yes.
But the ambiguity allows you to have that interpretation. That could be Marie driving off.
Yeah. It could.
you
You
always-
get your ending.
do you always want a happy ending, Aubrey?
No, I don't
Okay.
want it doesn't have to be happy. I just want to know what happened.
I just need a resolution.
Yeah.
All right, y'all ready?
Hold on.
Right.
No. I have one more
I meant to
thing.
ask you. I'm sorry. I'm a bad host.
No, it's okay. You're fine. Do you remember in second block when I asked you how to spell romanticize?
Did I spell it wrong?
No, you got it right.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if you heard me gasp, but I had this thought. And I don't know if you've noticed it, but white people in the novel, they always either romanticize, steal, or fear Native American culture. And I thought it was just a good thing to bring up.
That's really good.
Everything that, like, Mather, he wants to be Native American. All this stuff, and I think it's very interesting. Anyway, that's my spiel.
No, I think that's good. I mean, I think if you go to the Smokies, you can see that sometimes, right? Like, especially you get around Cherokee on the North Carolina side, and you can see that. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than appropriation. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even people here, oh, I'm like 14% Cherokee.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everybody
I've heard that a time or
wants to
two.
be-
Yeah. Well, you know, my dad's grandma was full Cherokee, but I'm not going to go around saying that I am Cherokee,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm not.
Did you put that on your CV?
Yeah, I did actually. I was hoping to. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things we often teach in literature classes is about the other, right? And how other is not only something that's strange and bizarre, it can also be something that's very alluring and mystical. So you've got the demonic other and you've got the exotic other. And you see it in this book. You see it in a lot of white culture that wants to walk a certain way, dress a certain way, listen to music that is not necessarily their original composition style of music. And so if you take it like this, John is at numerous times, he's described in a very alluring, masculine, romanticized way, not only by white people, but also by Marie Plotkin. And there's the part where they're on the college campus and they're doing the dance, and that's something very attractive, is that he is the physical form to do this. But also he's Native American, and it's something scary if he's going to be the 7-foot tall Native American standing next to me on the street. Is he going to hit me? Is he going to do something to me? And that's the white fear of something that they have generationally stolen from, appropriated, murdered. So he, like Othello, fits both the exotic and the demonic other.
Yeah. Well, you can appreciate culture, and I don't think there's anything wrong with experiencing and enjoying it, you know. I love the Mexican culture. And I went to Mexico, played in Nashville, and I went to the game, and I was about the only white guy there. But I mean, I didn't go trying to be one of them. I just went because
You don't steal their culture.
yeah, I was enjoying it. And my friend that went with me, his family's from Mexico, and he took me, and we had a good time. And it was funny because they kept asking me where I was from, and I would say I'm from Tennessee, and they would be like, "Oh, why are you here?" But I really enjoyed it. It was festive. It was awesome, you know. So there are ways that we can appreciate and enjoy it without just completely
And respect it.
respect it. Yeah,
That's why people don't respect it.
Which that could get into the argument that a lot of people have. Does America have a culture? Just kidding. Of course we do.
That absolutely has to be Alexie's baseline question. Is like, where are they crossing the line, and how many times are we going to continue to appropriate and rob and deny and erase an identity? You know, whether you mean to or not, we continue to do so. Mather does it. Jack Wilson does it naively. The parents do it naively, whether they mean to or not. They're stealing, they're appropriating, and it's damaging.
Yeah, it does more harm than good.
You know, it in a way reminds me of the Landbreakers episode where you were asking, would people outside of Appalachia have as much of a connection to this book not having been from here? And because I was listening to it again the other day, and your comment was, I think people from North Dakota would find literary merit in it, but would they find the same touchstone connection?
The feel of it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I can't relate to Native American culture.
Right.
So,
But you could relate to Appalachia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, realistically, like, that is its own culture, right? Does America have culture?
Right.
Well, yeah, we have culture here in our area. But also, I don't like it when people think that I run around my house in my overalls and my bare feet. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
it's
I find that
stereotypes.
offensive. Yeah. So I understand why they think that these things are offensive. I don't do that, Crockett. I don't do that.
I don't have a problem with overalls and bare feet.
No.
I don't do that. And my dog sleeps on my porch. No, I'm kidding. But if I were going to be writing a novel, can I authentically write about a Native American character without ever stepping over a line?
Right.
Like, even if I name them. If I name them something like John Smith, well, now you're whitewashing a character. So if I name them, what is Jack Wilson's character's name? It's something like
man.
John Lightwing or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
something
that.
ridiculous, yeah.
Even something like that. Like, that's naive. That is false. It's another stereotype. Yeah. So what if I were just writing a similar to NCIS crime show, and I have one character who's Native American? Like, is any representation that I pull of this character going to be genuine, or is it all going to be an offense?
I know if I ever wrote a book, I would avoid that situation.
Oh, definitely.
Well, it's just like you said, though. I mean, you don't want to be the person who is stepping over that line. I don't want to seem like ever, even in person, I don't want to seem like Jack Wilson or Dr. Mather, where I just assume because I know that I can just enter in these spaces. I want to be respectful towards that. So yeah.
It's good. I think so often, this is another reason why it's good for an AP or a lit class. So often we all have these biases. We all have them, whether we're aware of them or not. And getting to have conversations about this will often awaken that. I'm reminded of the first essay that I wrote for Dr. Eisen, and it was about Phyllis Wheatley and a letter, and the very last page of it said something about how she reacted emotionally as women are wont to do. And 17-year-old Jason didn't think anything about that line, but he circled it in red and just wrote generalization, ? And I felt slapped by it in a good way. Like, man, that was the dumbest, most insensitive, naive thing to write. All women are victims of emotion? No. But the way that naive guy wrote that awakened me to a very clear bias that young idiot Jason had. And there was another time that I had taught a similar book in class, and the kid did not mean anything by it, but he said something about how, well, you know, chicks these days. And I thought, ooh, there's a word.
Yeah.
And the girls next to him said, well, why are you? And he said, well, you know, those people just can't help it. And I thought, oh, those people. And we just started
going
building.
down and down.
He kept talking and talking, and
Digging
I
a
was
deeper hole.
building a master list on the board of all the pejorative things that he was deaf to that just come right out. But if we don't have those conversations, those tough conversations, and if we don't read books like this and the representation of people, then we're never going to be awakened to those stereotypes, and we remain blind.
Was it Dr. Mather that said tough conversations, or am I thinking of another doctor?
I think it was somebody else.
Okay.
They like jackets too.
Oh, shoot.
I think.
Okay.
But if I see a bolo tie,
All right. What's your rating? 1 to 5. Aubrey, go.
4.
4. Crockett?
Maybe a 3.
Ooh. Did you give it a 1 to 20?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll come to it.
Okay.
Crockett, what's your rating?
5. It is a 5 for me.
Okay. I gave it 4. 4 stars.
Yeah.
In my book of the years, though, which has always been something I guess I've done on Goodreads for fun, but I keep in mind like an honorable mention, and this was on my honorable mentions list, just because you and I had so much fun reading it. I mean, we had a lot of good conversations about it. We've had a lot of good inside jokes from it, you know. So, and also, like with the Ireland thing, this was, remember everything we were reading at that time, Native Americans just kept popping
Right.
up. Yeah, it was really interesting.
I think, I mean, if I had to come off of a 5, I would still want to say 4.5. I know the decimal drives you nuts, so I'm going to stick with 5. But
That's why I did the 20 scale. Thank you.
that's right. If it's a book that's going to bring me back to reread it, it's
Yeah.
got to be really engaging. It's got to be well written. It's got to have a lot of conversations. And I've read this book 3, 4, how many
wow.
times now?
Oh, wow.
So if it's going to be something that brings us back, it's got to be good for me.
True.
This is definitely something that I would not have picked up off the shelf.
Me neither.
The only reason
Yeah.
that I'm reading it is because of you two.
The only
would
reason I read it was because of Crockett.
And the only reason I read it was because of Dr. Eisen.
Oh, wow. And
Look
who
at the
did he read it
generations
for?
of readers.
I wonder who he read it
Yeah,
for.
I definitely
Right.
would not have.
You just kept going
I
back.
would have looked at the cover and be like, meh, okay, and kept going.
Well, 1 to 20.
15?
15?
14?
Okay.
It's not, I mean, I gave it a 3 on the 1, or 4, I guess, on the 1 to 5, but I feel like that's pretty high out of 1 to 20.
I feel like that's a 3, right? A 12? Is that what you said?
No, 13 to 15. I
I,
don't know.
I really
There's not
meant to
really a
write this
direct
down
number
because
there.
my math is so
We're
bad.
going to
There's
need a
not
scale.
there's not like a direct
Yeah.
number
Wait,
there,
you
I
said
feel like.
13?
Yeah. let's
That's
go
a 4.
with that.
Yeah, that's a low. That's a low 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. Oh, wait.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, yeah,
If it tells
yeah.
you what I read last year and how much some of the stuff I did not like to read, that's one of the like top 10, I guess, books I read, and I rated it a 3 or low 4.
Which
Yeah.
one was it?
What?
What book was it? You said that you read last year?
Oh no, there's a bunch of books
I got
that
you.
I read.
Got-
yeah.
yeah. Cool.
There's only a couple.
Yeah, so you would be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it at a 16, so close to a 5, but
Yeah.
not a 5. Yeah. 15, 16, somewhere around there.
I'm
Do you
17,
ever-
18.
17,
somewhere in
18.
there.
So,
Do
yeah.
you ever give 20s out?
I've not yet. No.
Yeah. Would you?
Have
give one?
don't what?
There's no perfect 20 out there, Mr. Haston.
Would you give it a 20, Mr. Crockett? Or
Would I give this a 20? I have not given a 20 yet, except to the Bible. That's the only 20 out there. But
Well, that's going to be our summer season.
Yeah.
We're just going to review the Bible.
I don't know that I have a work of lit, especially that we've talked about, that even came close to 20 for me yet. 18's the highest I've been on something.
I think I gave Warlock an 18 or 19, and I gave the Landbreakers an 18. So I've gotten close.
So really 20 is just like an unreachable thing.
Well, it's not that it's unreachable. I just try to keep in mind that if you give a 20, you're saying that this is the very best that I've ever read in my entire life. And I don't know that I've come across that yet. So that's why
I also feel bad about grading things so highly when, okay, I really enjoyed this book. I feel like it has tons of conversations. I've read it a billion times. But I compare it to something like Shakespeare, and you're not going to rate Shakespeare. But why do I reread Shakespeare? Because I teach it every year.
Yeah.
But it's never something that I just sit and read on my own, right?
Yeah, it bores me to death. If there's not something fast paced, I can't. I know you definitely probably disagree with that.
Well, no, I kind of want to pair Indian Killer with Shakespeare's tragedy Othello, because now you have the issue of race, you have the issue of mistaken identity, you have the tragedy that is wrought because of these accusations, and is there justice or is it all revenge, and where does that lead?
Well, and even the themes of like the racial tension, historical trauma,
Right.
what else, identity. I feel like that's an amazing way to put it into a serial killer narrative. I think it's really good themes for that.
If you take that class next year, one of your essays has to be about the social, cultural, historical significance of, and that, everything you're talking about, representation of identity, would be pretty good. Just saying.
That's a 6. He's guaranteeing
Yeah.
you a 6 on the AP.
Just saying.
We have documented proof. So if you make less than that,
You
I'll just
have an
bring up this
entire podcast episode
Yeah.
to refer back to
Yeah.
for commentary.
Hey, it's true.
how do you cite that on the AP exam?
There's an MLA citation. Oh, on the AP exam?
podcast?
Yeah, it
Oh,
would be
okay.
different. It would
For
be
a
different.
I was like, there's a podcast citation.
I would love to be cited in a podcast on a.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to
make that
take AP
happen.
now just
I'll
to
make
make that
that
happen. Gosh, can I frame that when that
Yes.
happens? Oh man, I'm gonna show my wife.
A big old like thing.
I've
like
made it now.
Already been published and now cited.
Yeah, buddy. Oh man. Now I need
I'll
to.
find a way.
Okay.
It'll happen.
All right. Well, thank you,
Thank you.
Crockett and Aubrey.